Well, good morning, Winfrey Church. It is a pleasure to join you today in this morning devotional. My name is Josh Roberts, and I am the new pastor here at Winfrey. And I want to talk with you today about what we learned about yesterday in service, and that was loving your enemy. And I think Pastor Christie did a wonderful job pointing out what it means to love your enemy and how difficult it is to not only love your enemy, but to pray for your enemy. And I want to talk with you about another thing that Jesus said. And we're going to go to the Gospel of John and in the 13th chapter. And this is right after Jesus has marched triumphantly into Jerusalem. This is after he has washed the feet of the disciples. This is after he has foretold his betrayal. And then he pauses in the midst of all of this that's happening in this holy moment, this passion season, and he says these words to his disciples. And when he had gone out, Jesus said, "The Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only for a little while longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I'm going, you cannot come." And then verse 34, Jesus says these words, "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Learning to love your enemies is one of the great challenges of the Christian faith, but one of the great struggles too is learning to love one another. That word love is that same agape love. And Jesus calls us to love one another, and he says, the world will know you. They will know that you are my disciples based on you loving one another. Sometimes it can be difficult to love one another, and some people are ELR kind of people. They are extra love required kind of people. But Jesus doesn't say, love one another except for this, or love one another unless they do this. No, he says, love one another. And as we learned yesterday, he then tells us, and if they're your enemy, you pray for them. Loving one another is one of the keystones and markers of the Christian life. And when we love one another, we will find that loving them changes us. When we love others, we also learn to love ourselves, and we create a better world and society. And that agape love is that love that we choose. And so we have to be active and proactive in choosing to love one another. And we love why? Because Christ first loved us. He first loved us while we were yet sinners, and we love everyone around us because he loved us, and that is his command to us before his crucifixion, to love one another. In this way, the world will know that you are my disciples, because you have love for one another. So my challenge to you this week is to love those around you. If there is someone in your life that you've had a challenge with, seek forgiveness. If there is someone you have been distant from, I encourage you to begin the process of building those bridges to love one another as Christ loved us and has commanded us so to do. May this be true for you, and may God grant our prayers and this time that we love each other. Amen and amen.